Well, it was March 7th, 1970, at the University of Dayton Arena when Notre Dame took on Ohio University in the NCAA Basketball Tournament. And this man, Austin Carr, Mr. Cavalier, was Mr. Fighting Irish on that particular night. He scored 61 points in that game. That was the new scoring record in an NCAA tournament game, and that is still the record in the NCAA tournament. You look like you look in the tape of the game that I watched last night.
Well, I don't quite feel the same. I got a little less hair, but other than that, I feel pretty good.
Are you proud of that record?
Yes, I am, because, I mean, people don't realize you have to be in great condition to do that, especially with the kind of team we had, because we didn't have a lot of help. So I had one other guy named Collins Jones who scored about 20, 25 points a game. That was it.
Wow. Okay, here's the thing. When you woke up that morning on March 7th, did you feel like, man, I got a big one in me here, I can go?
I wasn't quite feeling dangerous. So I was just kind of, it was just kind of a normal day. I didn't have anything exceptional. We had a regular little pregame meal, eggs and stuff, and that was about it. And the only thing I had, I wanted to get past that round.
And so you did, and you know, blew the game open in the second half. But the amazing thing was, as I watched the game, and it's on NBC Sports, and you can go on YouTube and you can see highlights of the game. The great Curt Gowdy is calling the game, and he could not come up with any more adjectives about the way you were playing in the game. And he is one of the greats. You took 44 shots in the game, and I have to tell you, they were all good shots.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the way the offense was set up. So it was easy to take good shots because everything was in a certain area. I mean, I shot outside, but everything was in a certain area, so it was easy to take shots that were in the flow of the offense.
When the NCAA tournament comes up, and we're just about upon that time right now, do you ever say, gee, I wonder if anyone, and now in the age of the three-point line, can anyone hit 61 or 62 and break my record? Does it ever go through your mind every year?
It used to, but not anymore. I mean, because I realized that records are made to be broken, and with the three-point line, if a guy gets hot, you know, but he has to stay hot for two halves, not just one half. So, you know, David Robinson, I think, came the closest. And there was some guy that played in the NIT, he had 62 in the NIT, but they didn't count. That doesn't count.
You know, to some people, records are, you know, very precious. And you said you're very, very proud of this. I'm going to tell you a quick story. On the opening day of then Jacobs Field, when the Indians were taking on the Seattle Mariners, and maybe a lot of you will remember that, a historic day in Cleveland sports, Randy Johnson is no-hitting the Cleveland Indians very deep into the game. I think 7th, 8th inning, before Sandy Alomar finally broke it up. I am sitting in the press box, one row above the great Bob Feller. And he is the only pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter on opening day. And still to this day, and let me tell you something, he was yelling at the Indians, get a hit, lay a bunt down. So to some people, records are precious.
Yes, and that's how Bob was too. He was like that, man. His records would mean a lot to him, but the record still means a lot, but at the same time, like I said, they're made to be broken, and I've had it for a long time, so, you know, so be it if it's broken.
You know, you had other great games. I mean, you in 7 NCAA tournament games in your college career, you averaged 41.3 points per game. You had 50 in a game against Kentucky. And Adolph Rupp, another, I mean, he is on the Mount Rushmore of college coaches in NCAA basketball history. He said, we tried everything, we couldn't cover the guy. You had 44 against UCLA. And ironically now, that was the last game that UCLA lost, I believe, before they went on the 88-game win streak, which then Notre Dame ended in South Bend. So you rose to the big games.
Oh, well, because, Jim, at the time, we didn't have a conference championship. So
Notre Dame was a true independent.
True independent. So every game had a separate importance to us, and that was the only way we could get into the tournament, is we had to have a winning record.
How far did you go in the NCAA tournament?
We got past the first round twice, but we couldn't get past, I think we lost to Kentucky one year, and I forget who we lost to the other year, but we just couldn't get past that second round.
Tell me this, you're at Notre Dame, okay, and you are Mr. Basketball there. You're Mr. Cavalier in Cleveland, but you're Mr. Basketball in South Bend, but you're really at a football school.
Yes,
Hey, Notre Dame, Notre Dame at that time was really
exactly.
right up at the top.
Right.
What was it like? Were you recognized on an equal plane as a great football player there?
I mean, as my first couple years, I would say no. But then after my sophomore year, all of a sudden things started to change.
Yeah.
And people started to notice and be more aware, and we started getting larger crowds at the games. And so it just sort of snowballed. By the time I got to be a senior, you couldn't get into the arena at all. You know, I mean, it was just packed.
Yeah. As your career went along there, you graduated from Notre Dame with an economics degree.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly.
Something I would imagine, you know, coming from the D.C. area, that you were very, very proud of, to go to Notre Dame and come out of there with a degree.
Well, that's my parents. My parents, that's
Isn't that
what they
great?
were. Oh, yeah. I mean, I had 3 other brothers. The 2 other brothers that lived, and 2 that passed. So my parents were very adamant about us going. My father never went to college. My mother went to 3 years. So they wanted to make sure that we all went. So that was kind of the way it was at the time.
So I have to ask you about your path to Notre Dame, and I want to allude to my childhood. Irish Catholic kid growing up in Boston.
Right.
My dad would say to us, on Sunday mornings, we're going to 7 o'clock Mass.
That's
We're
right.
going to come home, and we're going to watch Lindsey Nelson do Notre Dame highlights on the television.
Right.
But it was Notre Dame everything
That's
in
right.
our
That's the
household.
way it was,
Okay?
right.
My dad's bucket list was to go to the Vatican and to go to Notre Dame, and I have to tell you, I don't think it was in that order. I mean, he went to both, but I think he got a bigger charge about going to South Bend. What was it like for you? Why Notre Dame?
Well, because my family's Catholic, and the only difference is my mother's side of the family, well, both of them were from North Carolina, but my father's side of the family was Catholic, my mother's side of the family was Baptist. So I used to go to two weeks out of the month, I'd go Catholic. 2 weeks out of the year, I'd go to Baptist church. And when it came down to going to school, my father went out. He said, look, this is where you're going, and that's it. But I was either going to go to Notre Dame or University of North Carolina, one of the two.
And at that time, was Notre Dame known for basketball? Did it have enough of a basketball reputation?
It had a little bit of a reputation, but it wasn't known for that.
Were you recruited by many others?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I was either going to go to North Carolina. UCLA came in, and but in all the schools, really. I mean, I visited a lot of schools, but, you know, it all came down, because I could just tell my father wasn't going to allow anything else but Notre Dame. And I'll tell you why he did it. That was the only school the only thing they offered me was tutor classes.
Okay.
If you need a tutor, we can get you a tutor. But other than that, you're on your own, buddy. My father said, that's where he's going.
He's going to Notre Dame. I'll tell you
right.
that. You had 35 at the half in that game when you scored the 61.
Right.
Were you tired at all? Or were you conditioned
Not really.
to play
I
this
was
way?
in condition, right. I mean, the one thing that I always, because I used to run cross country before the basketball season, just to make sure I was in shape. And because I think I kind of prided myself on the fact that I could play 40 minutes for college and never get tired.
So as you went into the pros, do you always carry that game even into the NBA? Did people always come up to you and say, gosh, you're the guy that had the 61?
Yeah, a lot of people always talk about
the game.
I watched the game.
Right.
A lot of people talked about that, and it's amazing how people can remember those things.
You know what was really cool at the end of the game, Ohio University, to a man, they were in line and they were all going up to you and congratulating you on a great game. And at that time, there were not these celebrations signature things.
Right, that's right.
So Austin took a handshake, congratulated, and you walked right into the tunnel on your way.
And that was it. I mean,
were you met with a great deal of media after the game?
Not really. I mean, I had interviews. As a matter of fact, on YouTube, they had the one interview, and that was about it. It really wasn't a big thing about it, you know, because it was a record, but it didn't seem to have its. As I got older, it got larger and larger as I got older.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're thinking about records that are hard to reach, I think of 2. I think of Austin Carr's 61, and I'm thinking of Joe DiMaggio's 56-game consecutive hitting streak.
Yes, and you know one thing about that hitting streak? is the way the media is today.
Yeah.
By the time you get to 35, they will have worn you out.
I know.
And so I don't know if you ever get to 56.
Well, I remember when Pete Rose kind of got close.
Yes.
And it was the media really that, was on him.
Right.
Paul Molitor took a run at it.
Right.
He came very close.
Right.
But it was the pressure of the media.
Oh, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go anywhere. You go out to dinner, they're right there waiting for you. I mean, it's amazing.
Austin, it is always so great to visit with you. We love you here.
Thank you, Jim.
And I know they love you in South Bend. They love you everywhere. 61 points. Never been done again. Never been done before that. And he's ours.
Thank you, Jim.